Chapter 17. The Final Battle.
Taylor could see his breath as he looked out over the frozen lake. "You alright?" Trish asked. "Yeah, as alright as I can be, I guess," Taylor said and looked over his shoulder at the army at his back. "Don't second-guess yourself and this war, Taylor," Tricia said, picking up the feelings. "It comes down to either we fight or the world is run by Renard," Tricia said. "No, it's time to stop him," Taylor said. "And get out of my head," he said with a smile and kissed her on the lips. "Then stop doubting yourself," Tricia said. She looked out over the frozen lake. Here they come. The cars flooded in from the canyon. And finally, when it seemed hundreds of cars had come, 4 large private helicopters hovered into the middle of the lake, and out stepped Renard and his elite guard. The helicopters flew away, and Taylor smiled. "It will end today," he thought to himself, "one way or another," he said. He turned back to the army that had assembled behind him, and he projected his voice again, and again everyone on the battlefield heard it in perfect volume. Renard thought he could stomp the human race into submission. Renard thought no one would dare stand against him. Well, my Uncle Renard is wrong. He will not stomp them into submission, and there is some who will stand against him, and I count myself lucky to stand with them. You are heroes. All of you, for what you have done and what you will do today. We are the only and last line of defense for the entire world. Renard and his army must be stopped, and there is only us to do it. But we can, and we will. He will be stopped today and never again allowed to bring this kind of terror to the world. Let's go, Taylor said. He was about 100 yards in front of the masses of the army, but he ran headlong into Renard's army. Although Tyos was soon right by his side. "You're slow," he growled to Taylor. "You're a furry," Taylor shot back, and they ran and soon were joined by Therain. Taylor's father, Tanar, Tricia, and Ashley were soon all running in the front line. They clashed into the bloodless vampires, and now Tricia and Ashley fought with great power and valor. Therain, with his amazing experience, fought with zeal. Tyos handled every vampire that dared step to him. The rest of the army clashed into battle, and they fought hard, and slowly the advantage was becoming clear. The bloodlust vampires were starting to slip, and although all the vampires fought tremendously well, it was Taylor that inspired them all. And it was Taylor that inspired fear in the bloodlust army. He blazed the battlefield, saving many of his vampires from final blows, and at one point 2 vampires had jumped on Tyos' back. Taylor came by and ripped the first one off and threw him close to 50 yards. He landed with a crunch. He grabbed the other vampire and he held him by the shoulders and jumped a few feet in the air, and with great force he shoved the vampire down. His body was thrown through the ice and into the water below. "I was fine. I could have handled him," Tyos gruffed at Taylor. "There are plenty more," Taylor replied and ran off to help someone else. And so it went for almost an hour, and in the end the group of elite bloodlusters, about 15, huddled around Renard. Taylor called to his father and Therain in close. "It's time to end him," Taylor said. They all nodded in agreement, and the 3 of them started to walk towards the huddle. Soon Tyos, Tricia, and Ashley joined them. There was one battle left, and then the war would be decided. They were about 30 feet from Renard and his huddle. "Renard, your time is over," Taylor said, but the huddle did not open up. Tyos gave a gruff and ran through the line, and before they even knew what was happening, 5 of the 15 vampires were gone. Therain, Tricia, and Ashley jumped in, and soon only Renard and 2 other vampires stood by his side. "Brother," Renard said. Tanar stepped forward. "And now it is to be vampire to vampire?" Tanar asked. "As it should have been from the beginning," Renard said, stepping towards his brother. "Then why have you let all your followers fall before? That is the problem with you, Renard. You have always been full of shit." They leaped towards each other. They clashed in the air and fought. It took everything for Taylor to stand back and let his father fight. They fought, but within moments the tables were turned. Tanar stepped in and smashed his hand into his chest, grabbing his beating heart. "Your time has ended," Tanar said. As the words left his mouth, he turned pale and looked at Taylor. "Finish this, son," he said, and dropped to the ground. Renar's top aide had come from behind and pulled free Tanar's heart. Taylor's father's body dropped to the ground, lifeless. Taylor's eyes roared with fury. The aide lay dead a second later. Taylor was a blur, and he stood directly in front of Renar. "Wait!" Renar squeaked. "Your father was always weak. We can—" But he was not allowed to finish. Taylor snapped his head around. He turned toward his army, the cameras from many news agencies posted on the hill. "Let it be known that Renar is no longer pulling any of the strings of the vampires or humans. His intolerance is unacceptable. And now that the vampires of the world can walk without hiding their identity, and also know that you can count on us to fight for a better world for all of us, human and vampire alike. Renar's power is no more." Renar tried again. "See, I am finished. Show mercy and let me go," Renar almost pleaded. Taylor smiled and leaned in close. "You signed your own death certificate when you started all this shit." Taylor tightened his grip on Renar's heart. "Say goodbye," Taylor said. Renar's face went white and Taylor ripped the heart free from the chest. Renar's body fell next to his brother. Taylor turned away and collapsed into Trisha's waiting arms. Taylor's mother rushed toward her fallen husband. They had endured many horrible losses, but in the end, the war was over.